Let me ask you this question, all of you out there. What does it take for you to get up in the morning and get motivated? What does it take to get moving? Do you have problems, troubles doing that? I know I do sometimes. And oftentimes I need clarity. That is one thing that I find that's so hard. What is it that I'm going to do? Give me some clarification, whether it be something personal or at work, but more so about my wants, my needs. I need that clarification because oftentimes, again, there are a lot of things that I want, but I just don't know how to get there. So in this conversation today with Barb Stone, we're going to talk about all of that. What does it take to get motivated? What is clarity? How do I get clarity? How do I understand what that is? So stick around, listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, and you're going to get some answers. Aside from that, I want to say thank you for being a listener and a viewer. And if you're not following anything, please follow, like, and share this podcast. And remember, if you're a pet owner, please be responsible and have your pets spayed or neutered. All right, let's get right to it. I do love the cover of your book so much, The Drool About. That's great. And that makes me believe that you're a dog lover.
Yes, I am. And so are you, Chuck.
I am. But folks, this is not about dogs. No. Although I think we could learn, honestly, from dog behavior, certain things, because you mentioned that word clarity. Yeah. Dogs need clarity in training,
yes,
guidance. And you are saying you're not here to tell people what to do. You're here to clarify, clear things, and to help guide them in their own direction.
Absolutely. It's our jobs as coaches, as guides, to be able to ask them the powerful questions, to be able to start really probing what's the right thing for them to do. And that's what I do. So it's not about me telling somebody what they need to do. It's about me walking alongside of you. And it's, Chuck, when you hit the heart of it, it really is amazing to see the wisdom that comes out, and then they're really able to step into the thing that they really need to do.
I don't know who's right and who's wrong anymore.
You don't. And and it's so true. And I mean, I can't really listen to a lot of news. I just can't, because so what I really need to do is be promoting this book and moving it forward.
Yes, I can understand that as an author.
Yep.
I would keeping your mind fresh and not trying to lean towards one side or the other. Yep. I think it's probably a very good thing. Yep. Why is this so important right now to you?
So, Chuck, so who am I? I am just a person who really wants to help individuals. Seriously. I left my career as a senior female leader in manufacturing after 25 years because I wanted to do something that was a little bit different. And throughout my career, I found out that I really was a coach. Because what a coach does, and it's kind of interesting, I was listening to one of your podcasts about someone who was a coach with equine, horses. And, we guide people. It's not about us telling people what to do, but we guide them to really be able to discover what they need to do. And one of the things that happened to me, so I needed to leave manufacturing to create this career and do something to be able to help people along their path, because I was a first full generation American here in the States. And it wasn't the normal trajectory, go high school, go to college. So I had a little bit of a wonky thing, and I wish that I had somebody to help guide me through that wonkiness in my life. And so I wanted to be able to become a coach, and I thought I was going to become a life coach, but what found me were business leaders, executives, because they needed the clarity, and I had that direction there. And so fast forward, really becoming a speaker, a trainer, a coach, a leadership coach. Did a TEDx talk last year in 2024, but one of the things that was calling me was to be able to take wisdom that I've been sharing with my clients and really pull that out and being able to create some inspirational stories for them. And so what we've got is stories, a beautiful illustration, and then some wisdom statements. Because one of the things that I found that during the pandemic was I needed to be able to get up and going in the morning and needed to be inspired. And that's what I want to do for people, to get them out of the negative, to be able to look to the positive. And that's what I want to do with so much to drool about. But it's about the journey for people. Everybody is different. And, that's, and I, not to draw to the book, but one of the things that I try to do with all these learning things that we go through, and what I put through the eyes of the Great Danes are wisdom, are things that I've learned since junior high that have been instilled in my life to be able to help myself move forward and now my clients to move forward. But the thing about it is that when we started putting the stories together, I had to put them together by the dog, because each one has a specific personality and each one has lessons that they need to learn as they're moving forward in life. And so you can be inspired by any one of those stories, and they can really hit home for the people that are reading it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great part about your book, is that you have different stories which can resonate with someone. One story may not resonate with me, but you can bet that there is a story that's going to resonate with me.
Yes.
So, and I think that's really powerful, because we like to have, I don't know, firsthand experience, if that's the right way of putting it, but we want to be able to read something and really relate to what we're reading and know that somebody else went through that.
Yes.
And that there is a way to be inspired, and there is a way to become better, if that's what we're looking to inspire to do with ourselves.
Yes. Yep. And
But
and it's so true, Chuck. And it's like so many times I use a lot of this in my teachings. A lot of times life happens to me. Like, I talked a little bit about my alopecia. I'm a widow. Life has happened to me. You have a choice. You can become a victim, or you can start thinking about how can you use that learning to work for you, that you can move through it. And that actually for me now, it's a matter of what I've learned, that I want to create the wisdom to be able to share with individuals, so it gives them something to think about, and being able to help them ponder out of their situation and whatever they're going through.
I want to ask you about something that you just said, as far as choice.
Yeah.
Because we all have a choice, whether it's a good, better, or best. I firmly believe we do have a choice. So with that being said, the clarity of choice, how can people make that decision? And I'm going to throw something out there before you explain, is I want to say that in most all instances, there's not a wrong choice.
Right.
So don't be afraid of making the wrong choice, aside from, doing bodily harm or something, or to someone else.
Yep.
There's no wrong choice. It's just a choice you're making. So I had to throw that in.
Yeah. No, but that's a really great point, Chuck. There really isn't, one of the things I talk to people about, and I work with a lot of business leaders, and it's like they want to know that magic pill. What's that magic pill that's going to get them to this big thing that they want to put out? And I said, this is about a journey. And with the journey, you're going to come up with different obstacles, and you're going to come up with different things that you need to make that choice, to go right or to go left, or to do this thing or to do that thing. And the reality is this, is that you will start moving towards one of those choices. But one of the things I know to be true is as you start moving towards that choice, you're going to end up really recognizing, is it in alignment with what you want to do? Is it in alignment with your values? Is it in alignment with your purpose? Is it alignment with your emotions? And if you start finding that it's not, then you can start, I call it pivoting, and really start changing a little bit to go saying, well, maybe I need to really look at that other choice. Because right now, there, as you stated, there's no wrong choice. There's only learning, Chuck.
Mm-hmm. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in this situation, a lot of us need to have something, I'll say tangible, meaning it needs to be written down. Don't put it in your head because it could it'll be gone just like that. Would it be a good idea to do the old thing in the old days? Take that piece of paper, put a line down the middle, put, yes, no type of situation, purpose, alignment, or whatever you want, and jot it down and take a look. Would that help, you think, with
Oh,
people?
absolutely. Because sometimes and then you can start weighing it out.
Hmm.
So, because you'll be able to assess, but the important thing about it is I really think, and not to push coaching, but it's good to have a guide or an expert or someone that you can say that has been through it. One of the things I deal with a lot of people in business, and I'll say, you need to find the team to support you through your process, through your business, so that you can lean on them, because sometimes these people can see things that you can't see. You're in the muck
Yeah.
of everything, and you really need to bring everything around. But one of the things, Chuck, in regards to choices, we have, I call the being and the doing. We can step into the doing, and we can give somebody a process that says you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. But the reality is that step by step process may not always be in alignment with them, because they're going to end up going, that just doesn't feel good. I'll never forget my first business coach when I was leaving manufacturing. She said to me, "Oh, all you got to do to get these clients is post on social media 7, 8 times a week." And I'm going, oh my gosh, let me just slip my wrists. So, yes, I knew I needed to do that. I know I needed to show up, but it was not necessarily on social media, but I found a way of really doing a lot of networking, making the connections. I'm the old-fashioned want to connect with a human and really have that dialogue. So I think that you can do things, you can make that choice, but then how are you showing up with it will help you determine whether you want to go down that road or not.
Today's podcast is brought to you by my new channel, Straight Talk Daily with Chuck Tuck. That's me, I'm the host. We're going to be talking about everything from politics to social media and all the crazy things that's happening. Basically, it's going to be my commentary and my thoughts, my point of view. With your help, we're going to make this a great community, because you're going to give me feedback and you're going to give me some ideas. This will be launching on May 1st, 2025. Jumping right back into what we're having a conversation about. And we just were talking about choices and being able to make choices, and we talked about what can help people as far as there is no wrong choice.
Yeah.
But
No wrong choice at all, Chuck, and it's only about learning. That's really, really
yeah,
what it's important, because when you step into it, you're going to find out, is it the right thing or is it not? And then you're going to learn from it, and I truly believe that step that you take is going to build on the previous steps, and the step after that is going to build on that step. And that you can, and all of a sudden, by the time you get to the end, you're going to go, oh, wow. I mean, I end up having to say, 6 years ago, I started this business, and I'm going, And now I've got a book. But 6 years ago, I would have never have thought I would have been a TEDx talk a speaker. I would have been writing a book. I would be, even paid to speak, Chuck. I mean, it's like, but it's what happens is when you really put that value and that purpose out there and you're doing the right thing, you're going to build on it each way.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you're leading to as well is having a coach such as yourself really helps, because our wants, our desires may not necessarily align with whatever it is that we are trying to that we want to accomplish or get to that point. Because I think we're humans, and we want, and that doesn't. I know I want to be able to do this and that, but that does not align with what I need to be or should be doing type of situation, or the end goal, the end game. And I think that's where it's so important to have a coach like yourself. Is you hold us accountable, you guide us in that direction, you help us. And I look at it as you open these doors for us to look into. And it's just like, oh, you know what? I wanted that, but I didn't realize that it's this or whatever it might be.
Yeah. One of the things, and I recently started working with a new company the beginning of March, and I go in there and I do training, and then I work individually with the clients, the people that are on the staff. And one of the things that I really strongly started to lead in, and it's like sometimes myself as a coach, I don't have an agenda. It's your agenda. It's my client's agenda. But what ends up happening is they're looking at this thing that they want to do. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, let's unfold this a little bit. And then let's put that thing in the middle of the room. Okay, how is that making you feel right now? And they'll go through the emotions. They'll go talk about a little bit of embodiment. What does that really make them feel like? And I said, okay, remember what that's like. Now let's shift and let's look at this from another perspective. And let's look at it from the light of another lens and see what else is there for you. And then they start exploring and seeing this thing that they want to do, or that's really a roadblock for them, that maybe not, may not be, or there's just a different way. And I keep moving them. And then I have them kind of go back and step into what makes them feel the best and what's the right thing to move forward with. And it's amazing. They walk out of there going like, oh, wow. But all I did was help them get a different perspective on what it is that you want to do.
Do you have anything in your book, So Much to Drool About, that lays things out in a step like that?
No, but Chuck, my next book, all right, this one was just about wisdom, life things, and then and what we did was I pulled this out of a lot of the blogs I've done, a lot of posts that I've done, just wisdom. But one of the things we would like to do is we would like to be able to kind of gear the next book towards more coaching. And how would you walk through a process to be able to help the individuals a little bit more? Again, still going through the eyes of my Great Danes, because I just want to give you a little bit of a different perspective. If you just look at words, these illustrations help really amplify the story and the wisdom of what needs to go on. So, yes, my next book is going to be more geared towards that.
All right, we're going to have you right here for that.
Yes, you will.
Great Danes, dogs, your book, So Much to Drool About, inspiration, motivation, stories to connect to. What in this book, while writing it, helped you? Because I would imagine also again, we're all humans. You have these desires to do one thing, but it's not necessarily um, your your final path that you should take. So I guess my question really is, while writing the book, did things change and make you realize, oh, this is actually the way I should be going,
Yeah, yeah,
not the want?
absolutely. So, Chuck, this book really kind of represents a little bit more of the journey. You've got a journey that's
Mm-hmm.
up and down and around, and it was good, and then there were major bumps in the road, and then we get going, and then there's another major bump. And so there were many changes. Number one, was we initially, when we had the stories, we were thinking we were going to be putting them in chronological order of the dog's life. And then subjects, relationships for each stage. That's not what it turned out to be. And when we mapped it all out on the wall, I'm going, this is not making sense to me. So we had to pull everything off. And then what we did was because each dog was different, we mirrored the stories to the dog. And because and again, just like people, they have things they need to learn. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist too. And
No.
I know. And I know it's hard to believe. And
Yeah.
so what ended up happening? Life happened to my publisher. Life happened to my illustrator. And we had to change schedules. And even towards the very, very end, I didn't have all my illustrations. And I was short illustrations. But I had to say, it's enough. And that's one of the biggest lessons I have had to learn in my life, that I am enough. Because I've always strove to be able to do more and jump higher. And even with this book, I wanted it to be perfect. And it is perfect in its essence. But I had to learn to live with, I'm short illustrations. And you know what? It's okay. Because you know what? Nobody really knows it unless I tell you that we were short illustrations and we had to shorten the pages in the book. So it was a learning for me to be able to, I had a great team to start out between my illustrator and my editor, writer, and we were just clicking away. And then life happened. And that's what happens to us. Life happens, and we need to pivot and we need to make some changes. And so we had to do that to be able to accommodate the dream that I wanted to do, which was getting this book out.
The question I'm going to ask, you've basically answered it just now, but I want to ask a direct question of
Yep.
it. And this is going to go for people of no matter what age. And I think nowadays there seems to be more people that are striving to be perfect, or maybe it's because of the internet and they're comparing themselves with others and they think the others are perfect. How do we tell ourselves that it is, or we are good enough?
Yeah.
Is there something that can help people?
Oh, Chuck, that is, I will tell you, when I first left my job and I went to a networking meeting, and it was a women's networking meeting, and I walked into the room late. There was a speaker, and then I didn't know they were going to do this, but at the end, after the speaker was finished, they went around the room and they asked people to stand, say their name, what their business is, and what they do. And I was at the end of the room, and I'm going like, oh, they got to me. And there were probably at least a dozen coaches, consultants, speakers in the room. So by the time they got to me, I just felt like, hi, I'm Barb Stone. The name of my business is Build Your Path. I just wanted to curl under the table because I did not feel enough. I did not feel the greatness in saying that because here these other people were there. And Chuck, it took me, and you got to remember, I came out of manufacturing, and so I was almost like as much as I disliked it, it's like I wanted to run back because I felt more comfortable there, even though I felt beat up, because I knew that I was really good, but I had to pursue and I had to push through and I had to keep the momentum going to be able to get to doing what I wanted. And was it a clear journey? No. I made lots of mistakes. I can go back to sales calls and I'm going, oh, what were you thinking, Barb? About, hey, you're building a relationship here. It's not, I got something, you want to buy it? No, it's about building that relationship, but I screwed it up. So I continuously learned, and now, yes, there's so much out there on social media. There's so much out on the internet, and people want to compare themselves to that. But the reality is that they need to find, if they can stand, again, I'm going to keep going back to that value and that purpose and really standing on that foundation, it's going to help you find your voice. And that's what we all need to do, is to be able to find the voice in what we're doing and find the people around you that are going to support you. Because, yeah, it's a scary world out there.
It sure is. And I want to make sure people know where to find your book, So Much to Drool About. Where can they go to get this so they can start, reading the stories, reading the collection, and being able to say, somebody else has gone through this. I can do it.
Chuck, it finally came out in paperback. So it is available on Amazon.com. So Much to Drool About, Lessons for Living Large, Barb Stone. But one of the things that I would love for people to do, because I want to make this a ripple effect. I want people to start really thinking about their lives and how can they really make some changes in their lives.
Barbstone.me, folks. Go there, sign up, take a look at everything, and get the book.
Thank you, Chuck.
Just another quick thank you to all of you out there who have been following, watching, and sharing this podcast. Don't forget, today's podcast was sponsored by the new podcast channel coming up May 1st, 2025, called Straight Talk Daily. And that's going to be hosted by me, Chuck Tuck. Hope to see you there. Thanks. Have a fantastic day.